I had heard the rumors, the whispers of strange occurrences in this particular Walmart. People disappearing, strange noises echoing through the halls at night, and even reports of ghostly figures lurking in the aisles. But I had always brushed it off as a superstition and urban legends. That is, until I started working here at part-time. I needed the extra cash, and Walmart seemed like an easy enough job. But from the moment I stepped foot in the store, I could feel something was off. It was as if the building itself was alive and some malevolent force watching my every move. My first few shifts went by without incident. But then, strange things started to happen. Items would go missing from the shelves only to reappear in the wrong section the next day. The phones would ring with no one on the other end, and when I looked at the security camera footage, I could see a figure darting out of frame just as the phone started to ring. But the most unsettling incident happened one night when I was closing up the store. As I was walking through the aisles, I heard faint whispers and giggles coming from the toy section. I dismissed it as a mind playing tricks on me, but as I drew closer, the voices became clearer. I couldn't make out the words, "Come play with us," over and over again. My heart raced as I checked the security footage, only to see a small group of children huddled together, staring directly at the camera, their faces twisted into sinister grins. I brushed it off as a prank and finished closing up the store, trying to shake off the feeling of dread that had settled over me. But as I walked to my car, I couldn't feel like I was being followed. I quickened my pace, but the footsteps behind me seemed to match my every move. When I finally reached my car and looked back, I saw a shadowy figure dart behind a nearby dumpster. Shaken, I quickly got into my car and drove off, my mind racing with questions and possibilities. The incidents only seemed to escalate from here. One night, as I was stocking shelves near the back of the store, I heard a loud banging coming from the employee break room. Assuming it was just some co-workers playing pranks, I went to investigate. But when I entered the room, there was no one there. The cabinets were open and the chairs were knocked over as if someone had been frantically searching for something. But the most unsettling part was the message written in what looked like blood on the wall. "You're next." I was terrified, but I didn't want to seem too crazy, so I never told anyone about these strange occurrences. I started to feel more dreadful going to work. The once familiar aisles now seemed like a labyrinth filled with unknown dangers. One night, I was working the graveyard shift. I heard a loud crash coming from the electronics department. I cautiously made my way towards the noise, my heart pounding in my chest. When I arrived, I saw that the shelves were in disarray and the TVs were on the ground, shattered. But what might caught my attention the most was the figure standing in front of the shelves, its back facing me. It was tall and slender, its skin a sickly pale color. Its long arms hung limply at its sides, and as it slowly turned to face me, I saw that its face was blank, with no eyes or mouth. I let out a blood-curdling scream, and it seemed to echo throughout the entire store. I couldn't move, frozen in fear as the creature started to slowly walk towards me. I couldn't take my eyes off it, unable to look away from the blank face that seemed to be staring into my very soul. As it got closer, I could feel its cold breath on my face and its bony fingers reaching to touch me. And then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it disappeared, leaving behind a faint smell of sulfur. I quit my job that night, unable to handle the terror that seemed to lurk behind every corner of that store. But I couldn't let go of the questions that plagued my mind. What was that creature? And what did it want from me? I couldn't shake the feeling that it was just still watching me, even when I was like miles away from that cursed Walmart. But the incident that only solidified my belief in the supernatural was when I stumbled upon an old newspaper article about the Walmart. Apparently, the store was built on an old burial ground, and the developers had ignored the warnings of the native tribe who had considered it sacred land. The spirits of the tribe were said to have been disturbed, and the restless souls now haunted the store, wreaking havoc on anyone who dared to set foot inside. I could finally put a name to the terror that plagued me. The Walmart was cursed. To this day, I refuse to set foot in that Walmart, and I want anyone who would listen to stay away. But I can't help but wonder, are the spirits still trapped in these walls? Will they ever be at peace? And all I know is that I will never enter a Walmart again, and I urge you to think twice before setting foot in one as well.